In this story, a certified welder named Chloe, Tree, and her husband, Thurdida, a certified welder, have been married for 3 years. The couple's seemingly normal marriage takes a dramatic turn when Chloe reconnects with her newly divorced college friend. Amber, a life coach who believes in not settling for less, begins to influence Chloe's perception of her marriage, convincing her that her marriage lacks passion and excitement. This causes tension and frequent arguments between Chloe and her husband. The conflict escalates when Chloe proposes a break to find herself, which her husband immediately suspects is a ruse for infidelity. Instead of begging or pleading, he calmly agrees. A reaction that disappoints Chloe and solidifies his belief that their marriage is over. While Chloe stays with Amber, the husband uses this time to methodically gather evidence, including texts and credit card receipts, of Chloe's affair with a man named Scott. Simultaneously, Amber, who he suspects has been planning this all along, attempts to seduce him by posing as a supportive friend. The husband uses the evidence he gathered to file for divorce on the grounds of adultery, a move that, under Texas law, ensures he retains his house and the majority of their shared assets. He also keeps Amber on the hook, leading her to believe that he's interested in her. The story concludes with the husband serving Chloe with divorce papers, exposing her affair, and then orchestrating a final, dramatic confrontation between Chloe and Amber at a restaurant. Plot summary. The story begins with the husband's perspective on his 3-year marriage to Chloe. He describes their early years as typical, with minor disagreements about finances and household chores. The narrative shifts when Chloe reconnects with her college friend, Amber, a self-proclaimed life coach who has recently gone through a messy divorce. Amber begins to poison Chloe's mind with new ideas about relationships, leading to frequent arguments between the couple. The break. The conflict reaches a head when Chloe, influenced by Amber, suggests they take a break to find themselves and keep the spark alive. The husband, having seen a similar situation destroy a friend's marriage, immediately suspects Chloe is planning to cheat. Instead of arguing, he calmly agrees, a move that surprises and disappoints Chloe. He views this as confirmation that she prefers drama over a healthy relationship, gathering evidence. During the 2-week break, the husband begins to methodically prepare for divorce. He transfers half of their joint savings into a separate account and modifies his direct deposit. He also consults with a lawyer to understand his rights under Texas law. The husband's suspicion is confirmed when Amber reaches out, revealing that Chloe has been seeing a man named Scott, using his wife's iPad, which was still logged into her iCloud account. He discovers 3 weeks of explicit text messages, photos, and voicemails between Chloe and Scott. He also finds credit card receipts for costly dinners and a hotel stay at the Omni downtown, all paid for with their joint card. The divorce. With irrefutable evidence of adultery, the husband's lawyer prepares the divorce papers. Texas law regarding infidelity is unambiguous, ensuring he will keep the house and a significant portion of their assets. He serves Chloe with the papers, revealing his knowledge of her affair and the evidence he has collected. Chloe, initially defiant, is shocked that he knows about the hotel bill and their affair. The conversation devolves into a nasty argument, with Chloe insulting his welding career and his income. The final showdown. Throughout the divorce proceedings, Amber maintains her supportive friend act, attempting to position herself as the perfect rebound. The husband, however, sees through her manipulation and plays along. The story culminates in a dramatic final scene at a restaurant. The husband invites Amber to dinner, a celebration of the divorce. He then reveals that he knows she orchestrated the entire affair to get him. At the same time, he texts Chloe, telling her that Amber has something important to confess. Chloe storms into the restaurant, and the two women, who were once friends, engage in a public brawl, yelling and throwing things as other diners record the spectacle. The story ends with police arriving to arrest both women, leaving the husband and his friend, Logan, to watch from a safe distance. Content that both Chloe and Amber got what they deserved. The aftermath. The chaos at the Meridian restaurant didn't end with the arrival of the police, as Chloe and Amber were being escorted out in handcuffs, still yelling insults at each other. The restaurant manager, and his pristine white shirt now stained with marinara sauce, and what looked like a half-eaten shrimp cocktail, informed me that I was banned for life. "Sir, you incited a riot in my establishment?" he said, his voice trembling with fury, "and I'm holding you responsible for the damages." I simply pointed to the two women being shoved into a patrol car. "I think you'll find the culprits are already in custody." He wasn't amused. Logan and I watched the spectacle from the sidewalk. "Well, that was a proper ending," Logan said, grinning as he took a sip of his soda. "No apologies, no tears. Just two manipulative women destroying each other's reputations in a public place. It's almost poetic." Almost, I agreed, a sense of quiet satisfaction washing over me. I think the best part was seeing Amber's face when she realized Chloe was there. That look of pure horror was worth every penny of the $40 I put on the table. You only left $40? Logan raised an eyebrow. For the show they put on, you should have left a $200 tip. We spent the rest of the night at a sports bar, drinking beer and laughing about the events of the evening, for the first time in months. I felt completely free from the constant drama, the passive-aggressive comments, and the feeling that I was constantly walking on eggshells in my own home. I no longer had to justify my job, my hobbies, or my existence. The next morning, my lawyer, Thomas, called. I just got a call from Chloe's lawyer. Apparently, she's been released on bail and is furious. She's claiming you set her up. I did, I replied. And I have no regrets. I can tell, Thomas said, a hint of a smile in his voice. I also received a call from Amber's lawyer, threatening to sue for defamation and emotional distress. On what grounds? I scoffed. She publicly confessed to encouraging my wife to cheat. I simply brought the aggrieved parties together. The rest was their own doing. That's what I told him, Thomas said. Rest assured. Neither of them has a leg to stand on. Their little fight was recorded by at least a dozen people and is already all over social media. The public's verdict is already in. The video is viral, and let's just say the comments aren't on their side. I logged onto my computer and was shocked to see that the video had over 1 million views. The comments range from, "This is why you don't mess with a man's home," to "Amber is the definition of a toxic friend." It was a vindication I hadn't even planned for. Moving on. With the divorce finalized and the drama with Amber and Chloe a thing of the past, I began to reclaim my life. I went to the gym, got a new haircut, and started cooking for myself again. I focused on my career. And with the big project completed, I was offered a promotion and a significant raise. The $95 I was making before now seemed like a distant memory. I was bringing in over $120 a year, and it was all mine. I took the money I had gained from the settlement and the house and invested it. I put a down payment on a small duplex in a booming area of the city. I still owned my ranch home. And the 2-story duplex was the perfect investment property. The rent from the 2 units would more than cover the mortgage, providing me with a new stream of passive income. My social life also took a turn for the better. I started dating again. Not seriously at first. Just grabbing coffee and dinner with different women. I was no longer a husband, but a single man in a city full of opportunity. My past was a closed book, a lesson learned, and a story with a satisfying ending. I never heard from Chloe again. After the viral video and the public humiliation, she was so shamed that she left town. She apparently moved to Austin to be with Scott. But I had a feeling that relationship was doomed from the start. A relationship founded on infidelity and deceit rarely survives the test of time. I also heard from my lawyer that Amber was forced to move back in with her parents after she exhausted all her alimony payments and the money her ex-husband gave her from their divorce. It was a fitting end for a woman who preached about living your best life, but ended up with nothing. My life was no longer a reality TV show. It was a peaceful, prosperous, and happy one. The break Chloe had asked for had turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. I was able to rediscover myself, my passions, and what truly mattered in life. It was a journey that had been painful at times, but in the end, it was worth it. I had my house, my friends, my career, and my peace of mind. And that was more than enough. A new beginning. A few months later, I met a woman named Emily. She was a kindergarten teacher, kind, funny, and refreshingly honest. She was nothing like Chloe or Amber. There was no drama, no games, and no manipulation. We met at a volunteer event, cleaning up a local park. She wasn't dressed in a skimpy dress or wearing too much makeup. She had dirt on her face, and her hair was in a messy bun, but she was beautiful. We talked for hours about everything from our favorite books to our dreams for the future. I felt a connection with her that was deeper than anything I'd ever experienced. It wasn't about fireworks and grand gestures. It was about mutual respect and a quiet understanding. On our first date, she asked me about my past. I told her everything. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I told her about Chloe and Amber, the break, the affair, and the viral video. I watched her face as I spoke, half expecting her to get up and leave, but she didn't. When I was finished, she simply said, "Wow, that sounds awful. I'm so sorry you went through that." "It was a learning experience," I said, shrugging. "It taught me what I don't want in a relationship." "And what do you want?" she asked. I looked into her eyes and smiled. "I want honesty, trust, and someone who will eat cold Chinese food with me on the couch without judging my dietary choices. She laughed, a genuine, joyful sound that made my heart swell. It was then that I realized that my story wasn't about revenge or getting even. It was about finding the strength to walk away from a bad situation and the courage to open my heart to a new and better future.